A warm welcome to Disky Talk with Luyolo. If you're tuning in for the very first time, I do ask that you please subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you've been a part of this journey, I hope you thoroughly enjoy this episode. So, on today's episode, I discuss all things Dstv Premiership action as I have a tactical pre-match analysis of Sekhukhune United versus Mamelodi Sundowns. So the red team will represent Sekhukhune, and then the blue team will represent Mamelodi Sundowns. So when you do have a look at it then, we will start with Sekhukhune, who the last time out, they did play against Richards Bay, where then they did lose 1-0. We also saw Tashreeq Morris getting a red card, and the second yellow was quite controversial with regards to the fact that he was actually first to the ball and then he got kicked. But it was then adjudged as a second bookable offense for studs up. But when we do move on then, right along, let's have a look at the personnel. So in goals then, you do have Toaster and Sabata. So when you do have a look at this Sekhukhune United side, they have played a 4-2-3-1. At times it's been a 4-4-2. At times somewhat looks like a 4-3-3. But essentially they play with two strikers up front. And a lot of the times then, the one striker being Letswalo would look to start off the left-hand side and then also look to drift in. So that is a role then that you can term or look at as a split striker. You know, a striker who starts normally in a wide position and then looks to join the other striker to make it two strikers. And I'll also have a look at how then the shape can change to a 4-4-2 at times and a 4-2-3-1 as well. So in goals then, you do have Toaster and Sawata. So when you look at Toaster, this is a goalkeeper then who last season came to prominence, especially within the first half of the season because of his heroics and how good he is of a shot stopper. So this is a keeper then who will be key, especially coming up into a game against Mamelodi Sundowns, where I think he'll be very busy on the night. So it's very key then that he is alert and that he is able then to provide his team then with leadership from the back with regards to being able to marshal his back line, especially then that they'll find themselves defending for large periods of the game, and whenever then he is tested or called upon, that he's able then to come up with the save. And then at left back, you do have Ntiantia. So when you do have a look at Ntiantia, this is a player who was playing for Kaizer Chiefs in recent seasons, but he didn't really then find that form and find that consistency for Kaizer Chiefs as he wasn't a regular. So he does find himself then playing for Sekhukhune, which then is a very good opportunity for him then to ensure that he is able then to get his career on track with regards to game time. So when you look at Ntiantia then, this is a left back then who is quite a stocky and strong left back, as much as he is short, but he is quite a strong left back. And for this Sekhukhune side, he becomes key then with regards to offering width, especially then when you look at the left-hand side, because Letswalo does tend to start from the left-hand side, he does tend to drift a lot more into the box. So when you do see a Letswalo looking to drift in, he becomes key then with regards to offering the width and also ensuring that he is able to play those crosses, because that's also another aspect of how Sekhukhune look to play. They do look to play a very direct brand of football. So they also do look to play a lot of crosses, especially considering then they've got target man, especially when you look at Tashreeq Morris. Unfortunately, he won't be involved in this because of the red card. You also then have Mabasa as well, who is also a target man. You also have Letswalo as well. So they're always then looking to play those crosses whenever the ball does go wide. So you do have Ntiantia, who would then be looking to offer the width and starts on the left-hand side. And then when you move on then right along and have a look at the centre-back pairing. So as the left-sided centre-back, you do then have Daniel Cardoso, who we do know was on the books of Kaizer Chiefs. And then you do then have Edwin Jima as well. So when you do look at it then, this is a centre-back pairing, which is rather on the physical side. But when you look at the disadvantages then of this centre-back pairing is that you can get in behind them because they are not the quickest. And then when you do have a look at the right back, you do have Nigo Mobi. So similar to Ntiantia, Nigo Mobi also becomes key then with regards to looking to offer the width on the right-hand side. Whenever then you would see his right winger in Mukwana looking then to tuck in, you would see Nigo Mobi offering then that width on the right-hand side, also then looking to deliver those crosses. So it's not just about getting there into that pocket of space and looking to deliver a cross, but it is also then deep crosses from that pocket of space. So when you do then look at these fullbacks for Sekhukhune, they do become key then with regards to those deep crosses and offering the width whenever then their two wide players look to come in, especially on the left-hand side with Litsualo, because we do know that he is a striker, so his natural instinct is to drift inside. Moving on then right along, when you do have a look at the heart of midfield, you do have Linda Mtambo, and then you've got Selo Mutsipe. So when you do have a look at this two in midfield, let's just move them there. So when you do have a look at these two in midfield, Selo Mutsipe is the much more physical with regards to how he would look then to break down play within the heart of midfield for Sekhukhune, as he is naturally then a centre-back. But when you do have a look at the way that Sekhukhune are trying to play, they obviously then want that defensive solidity within the heart of midfield, and a player then who's able to add that physicality and break down play as well, especially considering then that they will be coming up against this Mamelodi Sundowns side, who do tend to dominate ball possession and who will be looking then to institute overloads, especially from those central areas and those central pockets of space. So it's going to be key then for a player like Selo Mutsepe to be on top of his game with regards to looking to break down play. And then you do have Linda Mtambo. So when you have a look at him, he is the more creative of the two within the heart of midfield. He does then also look to ensure that he's able to progress that ball within the heart of midfield for this Sekhukhune side. Also key then whenever they are looking then to build up from deep, because he is the one then who is well adept at being able to collect the ball and ensuring that he can progress the ball, looking then to also play those passes and penetrate into the final third. And then when you do move on then right along, like I did mention, that the thing is about this Sekhukhune side is that it does sometimes look somewhat of a three-man midfield. So that's where you'd have Mukabi, who would sometimes be the more advanced midfielder. Sometimes you do have him coming off the left-hand side where he drifts there, and then you would see Litsualo there. And then, like I did mention, Morris did get a red card, so you will most likely see Mabasa starting this game. And on the right-hand side, then you've got Mkwana. So when you do look at them then, with regards to their offensive scheme, this is pretty much the shape that you could see sometimes. At times, you could pretty much see that shape, sort of a 4-2-3-1 shape in a sense, where then they'd have three midfielders. But because then they are playing against Sundowns, where we know then that they do play with the diamond, so that automatically means that they have four within the heart of midfield. Maybe then they might drop Mugabe and maybe go then sort of like with another midfielder in there. Maybe then you could always see a Lipile, if he is fully fit, come in there. You could always see a Seth Perusnat looking to also come in there and add legs within the heart of midfield to make it a three. And then you could have those three up front, you know. So it does vary according to the type of opposition that they will be facing. But I do foresee them then adding an extra midfielder in there, somebody then who can help out from a defensive perspective, especially considering that for large parts of the game, they will be sitting deep and they will be sitting without the ball. So it's going to be very key then that they've got midfielders who can really graft within the heart of midfield. And then when you do have a look at it, I did mention then on the left-hand side that Litsualo does look to start from the left-hand side. So a lot of the times, he does tend to drift into the box. So if the ball is on the left-hand side, what you will see then a lot of the times is that Mobi will obviously be looking to tuck in because it will be conservative. So you could see somewhat of that picture where they have three. Sometimes then you will see one of the midfielders looking to join whenever then Tiantia has the ball. And that's what you could see then with regards to the offensive scheme and how then they'll be looking to attack. On the right-hand side then, it could be very similar because then Tiantia will just be looking to tuck in there and ensure it is a back three. And then on the right-hand side, that's what you would see where then they are looking for those crosses as they do then enjoy quite a direct and a very penetrative brand where they're not a team then that is looking to build up patiently, but they do look to go direct, sometimes with long balls, sometimes with deep crosses from these pockets of space. Whenever then they do get into those pockets, they're also able then to deliver that ball, and they are a team then that is also that also has threat with regards to their set pieces. So that is something that Mamelodi Sundowns then should also then obviously be on the lookout for, especially then when you consider that they've got Cardoso, they've got Edwin Jama, they've got Mutsepe, and they would have Mabasa, and they would have Litswalo as well. So you are then looking at 5 players then who can be an aerial threat within the opposition box. But when you do have a look at it then, and have a look at their defensive scheme, because this is what I think we will see for large parts of the game, is Sekhukhune without the ball. So without the ball, what you will see then is pretty much then a 4-5-1. That is what you will see, where then they'll obviously be looking to be very compact, and it will be sometimes a mid block, sometimes it will be a low defensive block, where then they are trying to ensure that Mamelodi Sundowns can't play through them and that they can't penetrate through them. However, it is obviously going to be a very difficult encounter for this Sekhukhune United side. And another aspect of how they could look to approach this game then is looking then to hit Mamelodi Sundowns side on the counter attack, and also looking then to be efficient within those offensive transitions. So we could also then see a change of personnel. However, when you move on then right along and have a look at Mamelodi Sundowns. So when you have a look at Mamelodi Sundowns then, this is a team who the last time out, they did play against Chiefs. We do know that they did win 4-0. So congratulations then to Mamelodi Sundowns for their victory against Chiefs the last time out. But coming into this one then, what do they look like? So Mamelodi Sundowns have been playing a 4-4-2 diamond, and when you do have a look at it then, in goals, you do have Ronwen Williams. So when you have a look at Ronwen Williams, then this is a keeper who has made the change from SuperSport United colours into Mamelodi Sundowns colours. And against Chiefs then, he did also save a penalty, which then I think only does him a world of good. And it also then gives him those, I would say, sort of those brownie points then with the fans, because then that was a very, very good save. And especially considering then it was such a big game and he was able then to pull off that performance. And then when you move on then right along and have a look at the two centre-backs. As the right-sided centre-back, you do have Rushin Duruk. As the left-sided centre-back, you do have Brian Onyango. So when you have a look at these two centre-backs then, they have become quite a very good partnership for this Mamelodi Sundowns side. And their partnership did start last season within the CAF Champions League, where they were very, very solid. And some might argue that this is the best partnership, although some might feel like maybe Rushin Duruk and Kekane. But I think that this partnership is quite solid. And whenever they have played together, majority of the games they've been able to keep clean sheets. So when you do have a look at it then, with Rushin Duruk, he is quite key then with regards to how Mamelodi Sundowns look then to build up from deep, and especially considering then he's so comfortable on the ball. He is a player then who is able to progress the ball for this Mamelodi Sundowns side from this deep pocket of space. A player then who's got a phenomenal range of passing with regards to how then he can even switch play whenever he does have the ball. Keeps it very simple and he goes about his business quietly. And then when you do move on then right along, the last time out, they did start with Andile Jali, but we did see Andile Jali limping off So stretch it off rather. So it's going to be very interesting to see if he does recover in time. If he does recover in time, then that bodes well for this Mamelodi Sundowns side, especially then within build-up phase, because what Andy Echali does very well in build-up phase is being able then to take the ball off Ronan Williams. So when Sundowns do look to build up, they tend to build up sort of in that way, where then you will have Andile Jali dropping into the box. What he does very well in this aspect is that he's able to beat the first line of press, either with a pass, a penetrative pass, or he's able then to carry the ball and beat the first presser. So whichever striker then would be looking to press him, he's very good at then being able to carry the ball, go past, and then play that pass. So with Andile Jali, then he is quite a specialist in this regard, with regards to how then Mamelodi Sundowns look to build up, especially when he drops into the box and he's looking to take it off Ronan Williams, because then he does have the technical ability to be able then to play a penetrative pass in between the opposition lines and find one of his attacking players. He can also play that diagonal into a fullback. He can also play it into the other fullback as well. He can beat the first line of press by carrying the ball as well. If not Andile Jali, you could potentially then see Tebogo Mokoena starting at the base of the diamond, as we have seen him starting at the base of the diamond. So let's just say then that this is subject to Andile Jali being fully fit. So we'll go with Tebogo Mokoena at the base of the diamond. And then off the right-hand side, you could have Mayema, and then you could have Hashim Domingo, and then you could have Themba Zwane. However, we do know that that they have also signed Bongani Zungu, so that is a player then who will make his way into the midfield for Mamelodi Sundowns sooner rather than later. Do also have Mkhulisi, who did come on against Kaizer Chiefs and had a very, very good cameo, as he was able then to control the game for Mamelodi Sundowns and ensure that then Kaizer Chiefs couldn't really get that ball within the last 20 minutes, and they couldn't really grow into the game with regards to being able to string passes along, because then when you do have Mkhulisi, what he does offer you then within the heart of midfield is that Mkhulisi is a specialist with regards to ball carrying, with regards to ball progression, being able then to circulate the ball, being able then to slow the game down at the right time as well. So that is a player then who can always come into midfield and add a lot of value for this Mamelodi Sundowns side. But we will then go with Tebogo Mokoena, we'll go with Mayema and Hashim Domingo, as they have been the ones who have played the most and started the most within this diamond. Like I did mention, it is subject to Andile Jali's fitness. And then at right back, you do have Mudau. At left back, you do have Mudiba. So when you do have a look at it then, with Mudau, this is a player then who did very well against Kaizer Chiefs. He was very solid, and the thing about Mudau then is that he does look to offer you that width within this wide channel on the right hand side. One-on-one in defensive situations is very, very solid. So when you do then have a look at it, you then have Peter Shalulile, and then you do also have Serino as well. But let's have a look then at Mamelodi Sundowns' offensive scheme with regards to how then they'd be looking to go about things. So what you would see then from Mamelodi Sundowns with regards to the offensive scheme, as let's say the ball is on the right-hand side, you'd have Shalulile there, you'd have Zwane, you'd have Serino, and then you'd have the midfielders pushed up. Then you'd have the defenders there. So what you would see a lot of the times with regards to the offensive scheme is that on the left-hand side, whenever the ball's on the right-hand side, you will see Mutiba looking to invert a lot of the times. You have Mokoena there, you have Rushin Deruk there, and then you have Onyango there. And then you will have Mudau looking to offer you the width. And then you will have Neo Mayema, you have Shalulile, you have Zwane there. You do have Domingo, who looks to also creep into the box and add numbers. And then you also then do have Serino there. So a lot of the times then, with regards to the offensive scheme in the opposition half, it does look pretty much a 2-2-6. At times, it can be a 2-3-5, either with one of the number 8s within the wide positions within the diamond looking to drop deep. So if this were the case, then a lot of the times you will have Mayema looking to be there. But he does also also tend to creep up into that pocket of space. And then you could have Shalile looking to occupy the box. So it can either be a 2-3-5. So when you look at it like that, there's your two center backs, there's your three midfielders, and then that's your front five in a sense. And sometimes then it can be a 2-2-6 with regards to how offensive they can really become, because then Mudiba tends to invert in this regard. At times, you do also see them then being quite expansive. So what you would see then is sometimes you could see Mudiba also looking to offer the width on the left-hand side, and both fullbacks have pushed up. But then this becomes a bit conservative from a midfield perspective, because then you don't have the 2-8s pushing up. So you'd have Mayama there, and then you'd have Hashim Domingo there. So then it would go to somewhat of a 2-3-5, having then your two number 8s there alongside Mukwena. But most of the times what you do see is that with Mudiba looking to invert. So there are various possibilities with regards to their offensive scheme. However, when you do have a look at this Mamelodi Sundowns side, then they also do tend to press high up. So that is a key component then with regards to their game model. However, how do they look to institute that press? So when you do have a look at it then, let's just put those players back into the shape, which would be the diamond. So you've got Mudau there, so you have Mudiba there, that's the diamond. So what you would see then, if Sekhukhune do look to build up, which is something I don't think that they will be doing because of how good this Mamelodi Sundowns press is, because we did see it then being able to pressure Kaizer Chiefs into mistakes on Saturday, especially then when you do look at that error that Ngezane made. It does come then from Peter Shalulile looking to press Kwinika when he had the ball. He plays it across. And then you do have Serino, who does come and engage Ngezane. Ngezane is not able then to play a sufficient pass back to Vuma, and then Serino finishes. So when you do have a look at this Mamelodi Sundowns side, this is how then they would be looking to press. So you'd have Zwane there, you'd have Shalile there, and then you'd have Serino there. But you do also know then when you do have a look at this Mamelodi Sundowns side, they do have a lot of quality then within their ranks. So there are other players then that can always come in and add that quality, especially then when you consider that you also do have players like Nasir, who did come off the bench against Kaizer Chiefs and scored a very beautiful goal, where then he was able to get the ball off the left-hand side. He beats Ngobo for speed. He does get into the box and couple of step overs, and he's able then to bring the ball back onto his left foot, and he finishes off very well. You do also then have Kapinga, who can come off the bench. You do have Mbule, you do have Kutumela, you do have Erasmus as well. So this Mamelodi Sundowns side then are quite star-studded with regards to the quality and the personnel that they do have coming off the bench. But when you do look at it then, and you have a look at this encounter. So when you have a look at Mamelodi Sundowns with regards to their key player, so I do think that Shalile then will be quite key coming up into this encounter, especially considering then when Sekhukhune do find themselves in a position where they could look to be sitting deep, looking then to deny Mamelodi Sundowns that space. It's going to be very key that Shalil is quite smart then with regards to his movement and his positioning within the box as well, as he does look then to increase his goal tally, as we do know that he did score 2 against Kaizer Chiefs. And also then when you do have a look then at the heart of midfield. So when you have a look at their diamond, it will be quite key then, because all players are quite important with regards to the game model and how then Mamelodi Sundowns are looking to play. So when you look at Zwane with regards to him being at the top of the diamond, how then he looks then to offer his positional and qualitative superiority with regards then to how he looks to position himself in between the lines. So he does pop up into the left side of half space, into the right side of half space, how then he's looking to take the ball into his back foot, how then he also is able then to ensure that he can score goals, he can assist goals, and he is then also a final third specialist, and he's also quite key within the danger zone. So danger zones being the box, and then being zone 14 as well. Very comfortable then within these tight pockets of space with regards to giving that extra pass, as we did see his assist for Shalulile as well. But when you do move on then right along and have a look at Sekhukhune, I think the players who will be quite key then within the heart of midfield, you do have Silo Mtsepe, you do have Tambo as well. I think they'll be quite key then with regards to the midfield and how then they look to graft within the midfield and ensure then that they can offer that defensive solidity within the heart of midfield. And when they are then looking to assist their centre backs. Otherwise, if they don't offer that within the heart of midfield, their two centre backs could be quite exposed. So when you do then have a look at it, then it does make for a very, very interesting encounter, because then you do have a side like Mamelodi Sundowns then, which just won 4-0 against Kaizer Chiefs. So they will want then to ensure that they are able to pick up their season, because then when you do have a look against Cape Town City, as much as they did pick up the 3 points there, they weren't so convincing. And then when you look at their match then against TS Galaxy, they did lose, and they also struggled on the night to impose themselves. And against Kaizer Chiefs, when you do look at it, there were certain phases and certain aspects of their game where then they didn't portray and showcase that dominance and that quality that you'd normally see from a Mamelodi Sundowns side. So then they are a team then that will be looking then to pick up with regards to their performance, and also then how they're looking to impose themselves overall. We do know that they do have quality, and they've shown the quality when it matters most within the final third. However, from a holistic perspective, it will be quite key then that they do start finding that rhythm of theirs, where then they are able then to dominate matches. With Sekhukhune then, it will be quite interesting coming up into this encounter, seeing then, do they then go with an extra midfielder and go maybe with one less striker, because they have been playing with two strikers up front. With Litswalo would normally start off the left and look to drift late. And also then considering then that they did lose against Richards Bay, it is a home game for them as well. So they will be looking then to pick up a positive result. However, how I see this one playing out, ladies and gentlemen, I do see then a 3-0 scoreline in favor of Mamelodi Sundowns. However, at home, do let me know who walks away with this one, who is the key player with regards to how then these teams will be looking to set up from Sekhukhune United and from Mamelodi Sundowns. Thank you very much for tuning in to yet another special episode of Diski Talk with Luyolo. Signing out.